スタジオ3万
Welcome to Chester Pride's first ever podcast, Chester Pridecast. We're taking it digital again to bring you on-demand LGBTQ topics, news, advice and a good old chinwag with our community. Before we begin, we'd just like to say the following content may contain strong language and adult material that may not be suitable for all audiences, so your discretion is advised. Any views or advice expressed on this podcast are the views of Chester Pridecast and do not necessarily represent the views and the opinions of Chester Pride. Hello, he, she's, theys and thems and everything in between. Join us for everything Pride and beyond. I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Wes. I use the pronouns he, him, and I'm a pansexual. Now I'd like to go around the studio and introduce the whole team. First of all, Diana, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure. My name's Diana. I'm a trans woman and I use she, her pronouns. And I'm really excited to be here today.
Might go next.
Yeah, you could go next.
Okay, so I'm TJ. I'm a gay man and I use he, him pronouns. And yeah, I'm excited to see where this goes and see what we can find out.
Hi everyone, I'm Carla. I'm a gay woman and I go by she, her pronouns and I'm excited to start this off.
Hi, I'm Jason and I go by he, him, or whatever you want to call me as long as it's not an insult. And I'm really excited to see where all this goes. Fantastic. And we have a great team.
We're alright.
Yeah.
We're alright.
We're alright.
Well, I just want to start the first episode, as it's the first episode, if we can discuss our firsts.
Ooh.
Yes, our first. Jason in the corner there. Quivering away.
Many moons ago.
What do you mean by first?
So firsts, this could be your first coming out story.
Oh, right.
Yeah. So not necessarily
First
the
person you have
first.
sex with, I guess.
Well,
I'm still a virgin, obviously.
I can tell that.
Yeah.
The way you walked in.
so yeah, if we start with our first coming out stories, yeah, Carla, do you want to take it away?
I'll kick it off. My coming out story was interesting. I was sort of forced to come out because my sister came out first.
Oh.
So she came out as bisexual. So I sort of didn't feel too much pressure, but I thought I might as well do it now to get over and done with.
Rip the Band-Aid off.
Yeah, to rip the Band-Aid off. And my mum was really good about it, but unfortunately she was drunk at the time, so she did take it well, but she was drunk. So in the morning, it wasn't the best experience because she actually left the house, and
No.
I was the only one in the house, and everyone else went somewhere, and I was on my own. But it turns out it's because my mum was trying to just process everything.
Oh, bless her.
So she did say that she's really proud of me for being able to tell her. But she did have some concerns because she did want grandchildren. But luckily,
I mean, you are a triplet. So.
Yeah. Luckily, we do have a big family, so of course my mum's not too concerned about that
I
now.
can't help but think you piggybacked off your sister.
Oh,
as well.
Did it not make it easier though that your sister had come out before? So it must have made it a little bit more.
It's like, oh, by the way, me too.
Just jumping on the bandwagon.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's
So
good.
yes, I just went for it, and it turns out really good in the end. So I got lucky.
Oh, fair dues. I mean, mine's quite a similar story. I mean, mine wasn't with my parents. It was with friends in college I thought I could trust. And she was a great friend, true ally, because she's lesbian as well. But then she thought I should come out. So she took that off me and told everyone.
No.
Yeah, so everyone, I mean, thankfully, everyone was relatively understanding. But there was one person, because at that moment I thought, my world's just upside down. Yeah, I'm rolling a ball and die. But not dramatic at all.
No, clearly.
But there was one person that approached me afterwards and was like, look, I'm actually bisexual too. So then we formed a great friendship after that, and it just, just that validation from someone else that's like, oh, thank God.
I'm not the only one.
Not the only one.
Was your friend trying to help you by coming out for you? Do you think?
Yeah, I think she was trying to, but, there's a way of going about it, isn't there?
In her head, she was doing the right thing, but in reality it's not, is it?
Exactly. So, yeah, that's mine.
I mean, go on. What's yours? Can you remember that far back?
Oh, that far back.
Back in 1891.
1891. The thing is, I think the thing is about coming out, it can actually be a gradual process. It can be like you come out in one section, another.
Well, that's it. It's not your first coming out story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, my first coming out story was, I went to a Catholic school, and I've always been sort of like, I've always been, sort of like outspoken. And good long story short, we had a substitute teacher come into the classroom, and a really, really nice guy. And all the class was like being dead ignorant and noisy and everything. And I just turned around, and I'm not a swat or anything. I just turned around and said, "Will you shut up?" Because he was getting really uncomfortable. So I said, "Will you shut up?" Anyway, what you used to call back then the cock of the school, which was the tough lad. Yeah. He turned around and said, "What are you going to do about it? You're queer." So I stood up, and the teacher, who I can even remember his name now, Mr. Robinson, turned and said, Jason, sit down. I said, "Honestly, sir, I'll be fine. So I went over to him and I said, "What did you call me?" I'm not going to name the guy. I said, "What did you call me?" And he went, "Queer." And I just grabbed hold of him and I kissed him.
No.
Oh my God.
In front of the whole class. I literally sat back, he was dumbfounded, and the rest of the class just clapped.
Wow.
They cheered me. And that's my first coming out.
That's amazing.
Not dramatic at all.
Yeah, dramatic. And the weird thing was, he followed me around for weeks afterwards, so it must have been a good kiss.
There you go.
When you started the story with the supply teacher,
I didn't. Yeah, no, I was exactly like that. I thought you were going to be like
the supply teacher.
So
right.
hard.
I'm watching that video online. Yeah,
And then he
that was
locked me in the
interesting.
board.
I feel like mine's dead boring to everybody else's. It was literally, I was 11 years old and was just
11?
Yeah, I was quite
Wow,
young.
that
Like
is early.
the first friend I told anyway, I didn't
Yeah.
fully come out until I was like 15, 16.
Yeah.
But I was just on MSN. We were just chatting on MSN,
yeah.
and it just casually came up in conversation, and we were both just like, yeah, we're a little bit gay.
A little bit gay.
Just a little bit today.
Just a little bit
Just had a
gay.
little bit of a secret gay relationship for a couple of years in school. And
Oh, that's cute.
that was the first
Oh,
time.
that's lovely.
At 11.
Yeah, I was
Sure.
The first time I ever actually did anything with another lad, I was 4.
No.
4 years old I was.
Oh, I
Was
don't
the other lad
know.
a priest? Can I say?
Same age.
Wow,
It was reception class. Before you used to do primary school, and it was like, I don't know whether it was very early developer, but actually, I've always found men attractive. I've never been like questioning it.
Yeah.
And I just literally me and this other, I can't say who he is, but me and this, because he's now married and all that, and we just like doctors and doctors, not doctors and nurses, doctors and doctors, and I've always been aware of it. That's the weird thing. I think with me, I've never had a problem with it.
Sure.
It was still coming to telling my parents, but they've always thought I was different.
See,
anyway.
I'm the complete opposite because I think for me, because I originally came out as bisexual, obviously I'm pansexual now, but I had a girlfriend for 4.5 years. I helped raise her baby.
Yeah.
You know, it was a great relationship, but at the time I thought, I don't need to rock the boat.
Yeah.
In a sense, because she wasn't fully on board, you know, testing the waters with, oh, what do you think of these kind of people?
Yeah.
And, you know, you get a sense from that then. But I thought, you know what? I don't really need to say it out now. You know, it doesn't affect my life. I'm happy as I am. So,
Exactly.
And then it just meant I got to experience and, you know, discover that side of myself later on in life, in my early 20s then.
So you came out as like bi first, and then sort of went on to gay, because that's basically bi to gay.
See, that's the thing, isn't it?
You went to pan
Can
as
you
well.
explain what? I mean, can we cover it?
Yeah, certainly.
Because I'm a bit not thick, but I'm just pan. What is pan?
So for me, I would say it's an extension of bisexuality.
Yeah.
But it goes that step further.
It's more inclusive.
Yeah, exactly. So
Not
for
just
me,
binary bisexual.
yeah. So for me, I am attracted to a person.
Yeah.
The whole of that person. You know, it's regardless of gender, identity, all that kind of stuff.
So would you say bisexuality is more towards gender?
Yeah, so that's like female and male exclusively, whereas, you know, I think pansexual, a lot of people I've discovered are re-identifying as pansexual because they think, well, like me, I'm a bit greedy, so...
What would be your story then? Because did you come out as trans first?
Oh
or
God,
was that-
well, I've had like 3.
Yeah, I suppose you have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been a few. So, like, I mean, when I was younger, I thought I was a straight boy for a long time. And it was till about, like, year 8 of high school when I started having, like...
The gay thoughts.
Yes.
The dreaded
No.
gays.
So I dealt with that for a while. But then I came out in sort of like my last year of high school to my group of friends, and everyone was amazing. And I remember it was like 2015, and I'm a 1999 baby, so it was 2015.
Right on the verge.
Like it was New Year's.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I came out to my mum and I went out for New Year's, and then I come back and she was a bit like thrown for a loop, because in my family there's only been one queer person before my generation, and he really lived a horrible life. So
Was in the 90s, yeah.
yeah, so like their perception of it was not great at first, but I mean they were fine after a while, and I think like shortly after that I started experimenting with gender, and I identified as fluid for a couple of years. So I did both, and that was fun because I definitely wasn't ready to like let go of my like I guess boyhood in a way, because I was all right with being a boy when I was younger. It was fine. I was comfortable, but I also needed to express like my feminine side as well. So I did that for a while, but then I had a breakdown.
Bless you.
I know. But it was so stressful maintaining 2 wardrobes.
Oh,
It was.
That's stressful enough.
It was a lot. But then I guess it was like sort of when the first lockdown started, like some things went on and I really like had a lot of time to sit down with myself, and I was like, no, I know for sure.
Yeah.
So
You had time to evaluate and think.
Yeah.
I think everyone at that time, didn't
I
they?
think
Yeah.
it's been a few years of like LGBT awakening in people,
Yeah.
because everyone's had time to think.
I was going to say, it's not like a quick process. It does take time to figure out who you are, and that comes from like speaking to other people who are part of the community, or like seeing something on the TV, or to,
even isolation though, because it's almost like practice. It forces you to practice introspection.
Yeah,
Yeah,
literally.
yeah.
I would just sit in the bath for hours and be like, I think I'm a woman.
Well, it just going back onto what you said, TJ, about we've had this discussion previously, how you had, a group of friends who you could discuss these kind of things with, and not everyone has that. So I think certainly the aim of this podcast, I would say, is, it's a place where you can express yourself, you can ask us questions. We'll be setting up our socials, so you can ask us questions, ask us advice, or even just tell us stories that you just want aired out. I think it'll be a great opportunity, especially from a wide spectrum of the community that we've got here, to do that, really.
Yeah. Tell us your dirty secrets and we just want to
That's
say
it.
That's it.
That's it. So we will have on our socials, I will mention them at the end. We've got a Curious Cat, which is a anonymous platform. So you can email in your stories or questions to the email address, or tweet us, or alternatively, use the Curious Cat if you'd like to stay anonymous.
We want to be that group of friends.
Yeah,
You can
exactly.
talk to
Yeah,
about
Exactly.
this
So there's
stuff.
probably a lot of people out there that don't have the group of friends that that
Exactly.
I had when I was growing up, that I could talk to. So those people that don't have it, this is their group of
so
friends
important.
now. Yeah.
Like,
Especially having a variety as well.
Yeah.
it's so important, like, when coming into yourself as a queer person, to have other queer people to speak to.
Yeah. That's what
If you don't
or even
have
just to
the-
hear a voice, even just to hear a voice that can be sort of like a representation of what you're feeling. I think even if people are not ready yet to speak openly, if they can actually even hear us talk from all different avenues in the queer community, I think that will let people know that even now with all the TV, all the programs, all the films, people still have that sense of isolation, because the problem is, no matter what we like to try and say that we're progressing, we have progressed. I think we're still, the fact that we have to come out, that is the problem. Because I think if one day people won't even think about it, it will be, you are what you are. But people's always, until you actually come out, they presume you are a heterosexual individual.
Because my dad said to me when I came out to him, he was like, I'd rather you didn't come out. I'd rather you just come home with a boyfriend. Then just like, that's the better way to do it.
See, my parents were very different. They were, we wish you'd have told us sooner, we feel like, because I dealt with it for so long hidden, it did affect me personally with my mental health. And I think they were more concerned at the fact that I'd left it so late in life to say it. They think, you could have come to us a lot sooner with it.
I think the problem that my parents had, one, my mum, she sobbed her heart out when I told her, but she cried because she was frightened. It was frightening for me.
Same.
Yeah.
Because the problem is I
Yeah.
come from an Irish family, a lot of them boxers, tough men. My dad was a bodybuilder. My sister was actually a bodybuilder. So the thing is a lot of it was the idea of, even today, the idea of being gay, they see it as being less masculine.
Yeah.
Which to me then also shows that there is a massive misogyny in society, because even if someone is feminine, why is that seen as less?
Yeah.
But that shows it is.
You must have experienced that quite a bit. So, like your.
Oh yeah, because I was so femme before. I mean, homophobia a lot of the time is disgust at feminine qualities in a male person.
Well, it's like the thing though, like, you know, homosexuality is across all of nature. The only animal that is homophobic is us.
Human beings, exactly.
Which is shocking.
Give it up for the lesbian otters.
Yay!
And the queer penguin dance.
Oh, I love the queer penguins.
Same.
I've not seen. Who are these queer
There's
penguins?
some lions.
Queer penguins.
So there was
lions
as well, isn't there?
as
There's 2 lions.
So there was 2
there
queer
is.
penguins in Germany, in a German zoo, and there was an egg.
It would be a German zoo.
They raise
yeah.
eggs.
They raised eggs together.
I've not seen this.
It's so
Where have I
cute.
been living? I want to see these gay penguins.
Well,
We saw this
speaking
on
of-
Instagram.
Right, someone needs to send me this because I need to watch it.
So on the penguins, let's go on to first loves.
Ooh.
Very saucy topic.
My right hand.
I think that's every boy's first.
Anyway,
I just got that.
anyway, right. So,
Yeah, first loves.
why did you look at me then? Why did you look at?
Well, I was aiming at Carla. Go ahead, Carla.
So my first love, it was in sort of like the Bebo and MSN days.
Yeah. See, I think everyone starts there, don't
Yeah.
You don't. I was going to say you don't know what Bebo. Oh, stop.
they? Bebo, MSN,
Sorry,
MySpace.
I just aged.
I was going
I
to turn
feel
away.
now. Yeah, so I met my first girlfriend on like an instant messaging thing,
Oh, yeah.
and she was from my high school in a year above me.
Oh.
So my sister is also in the year above me, so they weren't friends or anything.
Oh,
And my
okay.
sister thought that person was a bit weird.
So
So
naturally you
I
got
so,
to
You're like, yeah, I want that one.
so I was worried about telling her
Yeah.
the most. But yeah, so it was kind of a secret relationship for about 6 months. That was my
Wow.
first love. But to be honest, I wasn't ready to come out at that time anyway because I was only like 15.
Well, that's it. It's
So
like
it's probably better that it was secret at first.
Like
Yeah.
learning.
Because if I'd told my parents that, oh, I've got a girlfriend now, and then 2 weeks later, I haven't got a girlfriend anymore.
And now you just outed yourself.
They're gonna be like, what's going on? Oh, are you going to get a boyfriend now then?
Did you get to like hang out in person and stuff?
Yeah, a few times, yeah. So we'd like go to the park and stuff. Cause
I knew you were going to say
Yeah.
that.
Wow,
It's always the hard
part.
With a WKD.
I was only 15, so like, yeah, I'd go to the park and things. But it ended as quick as it began. But
Yeah.
I think it's because when you're young, things just stay, don't they?
Young love.
But yeah, it's weird. Yeah, it's weird to think how. But it always felt normal.
Yeah.
So like, it made me realise like, yeah, this is who I am. Because I never felt like it was weird. It felt normal to me.
Mhm.
It just felt. I knew it would just feel weird to the rest of the world in my head.
Yeah.
I was like, this feels so right to me, but why would it be so wrong for other people?
Yeah.
So that was my main sort of obstacle in coming out, because I was like, well, everyone's just going to think I'm weird,
Yeah.
and like, I
Like
might
the
as well,
girl in the year above.
Yeah. like I might as well
Was
just
she out?
be
the girl in the
normal.
above?
Yeah. So it turned. No, this is a juicy story. I thought
Juicy
cut this
story.
out. Dan, producer guy, cut it out. So it turns out, because I was 15 and really naive, and obviously we didn't have any of the same classes together because I was in the year
Yeah.
below, so she actually had another girlfriend.
I love this. Come on. Coronation Street, writing this down.
And they were in the same class together.
Dan, you're not allowed to
But
cut this out.
Yeah.
Dan, don't put it in, please. So
What
but
year
I
was
didn't
this girl?
realise.
Was she in the same school?
Yeah, so she was in the year above. So I was in year 10. She was in year 11.
So she had a girlfriend in her year and a secret girlfriend.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
she's
Love
getting
this.
about.
I
Yeah.
love this.
What do you do there?
And I found out because the person, my first
Because
love
you smell
will
her
say,
fingers.
You recognise that?
will say
That's
my
not
first
me.
love's real girlfriend. Her real girlfriend seen like messages on Bebo and stuff, and
More scandal.
I love
yeah.
No.
So that's how she found out, and then I realised because someone else told me, and then I had like non-stop phone calls for about 4 days.
Oh no.
And I just
How am I only finding this story
This
out,
is
Colin?
amazing.
Juicy.
Can we have a
Write a
whole
book.
episode just to this?
And
I love
then,
it.
and then I was like, no, I'm not going to be friends with anyone anymore. I'm not going to date anyone. I'm just going to stay on my own for a little
See,
bit.
I had the similar
Yeah.
situation after I'd my first girlfriend. I was talking
that
to
was your first love.
yeah. So we can skip my first love anyway. But in the same sense, I like my first male interaction. I was also talking to a girl at the time, so I was like,
You slag.
I mean, aside from that, obviously, but you know, you're at catch-22. I'm like,
Yeah.
right, I'm finally discovering myself, who I am, what I want to be, and now I'm stuck with both of them. I'm like, literally at the
life.
Oh, I know.
I know.
The smallest
Oh
violin.
god.
but because it's such a conflict, oh, you little violin over there. Just because it's such a conflict in your head
Well, it is, yeah.
when you're starting that, you're just like, you know what, I'd rather be out of this than try and navigate it.
I'll ask you a question myself now, because obviously, we're all open. This is not a non-judgmental. This is
Open
just
space.
wanting information.
Yeah.
Obviously, as a gay man, I like men. Right, so cut and dry, bro.
And you've always liked that.
I've always liked men.
Yeah.
I remember, at the age of 4, my dad at the time, he was a builder.
Yeah.
And apart from being a bodybuilder, he would bring his workmen home.
And they were
And they were
hot.
these beefy, gorgeous guys. That's why I know. That's why my husband now. If I borrow, so my husband, he's a big bodybuilder. Like,
I've gotta meet him.
I just like how your dad just walk in
That's
like,
him on the first. That's the first photo I ever saw of him. That's him now.
Just for
Oh my
those that
God.
can't see, he's showing a picture of his
Oh, yes, sorry.
obviously
Oh,
hunky
a
husband.
full- Hunky husband, nothing else. Facially.
A face.
He looks like Thor. Actually, he's got long. So basically, these very masculine men were coming in, and I used to be in awe of them. And this is the weird thing. Do you know how you have like smell association?
Sure.
If I smell plaster now, it's a turn on.
Oh my god!
Honestly, do you know when you have fresh plaster?
I love that.
Yeah. Because it's the smell of the workmen, because
Yeah.
they've been plastering away. So now, put a little bit of plaster on.
I mean, I'm not being funny, but there's work going on in the
I was-
studio.
Oh, right.
So I'm like,
I'm in place.
I'm a little worried to be around you right now.
But yeah, so this is my question. So as a pansexual
Mhm.
person, obviously, when you were first coming out, you associate yourself as bisexual.
Yes.
Would you say that's one way? It's easier, I suppose, because you can cover it up. Because you can be with a girl. You can
Mhm.
pretend you're heterosexual.
I think that's like where a lot of bi-erasure comes
Yeah,
from
yeah,
as well.
exactly. But would you say? But then also, there's also more of a confusion because we always like to put ourselves into little boxes because it gives us a sense of security.
Yeah.
So when you have this, for me, I like guys. I've always liked guys. Never even kissed a girl. Always knew I liked blokes. Right. So for me, that was fine. But when you're bisexual, there's a very grey area, isn't there?
Would
you say that adds to the confusion, or does it help?
It's
I don't
a
know.
mind fuck.
It's a mind.
It's a minefield of mindfuck, is all I'm going to say. But yeah, I think it's in my later years. I'm in my early 30s. sorry.
Early 30s.
Early 30s.
And a very youthful looking in realities. That's so sad. Yes.
But it's during COVID again, like you said, like having that time to think. And I thought, actually, I'm not just this because I'm attracted to these other people. And I thought, well, actually, I don't have those hang-ups anymore to think, oh, I need to be in a box.
Yeah.
And I think it's great to see on social media, in pop culture, that kind of, it is such accepting now. I mean, there's still lots of work still to do, obviously, which we've always got to advocate for, but it is so much more accepting now. So I think, well, why should I just stick to one thing?
Yeah, exactly.
Always reevaluate yourself.
Yeah.
And it can change at any time. Like,
Exactly.
There's no box
No.
We're putting ourselves in something that doesn't exist.
Exactly.
No, yeah,
That's true.
because all of it's just a social construct anyway.
Because it is.
And I think that kind of limits people from actually figuring out who they are quicker, because they think I have to be gay, I have to be straight, I have to be bi.
Also, like,
you're
young
free
people-
to change your mind as well.
Young people don't think about bisexuality. I feel like if young people, even if they say like a young woman's had like 4 boyfriends, and then she kisses a girl at a party, she'll go home that night and go, "Am I gay?
Yeah.
I'm gay."
Yeah.
They
exactly.
don't
Yeah,
seem
no.
to think about it as
Yeah.
See,
different.
for me personally, I mean, boxes helped because growing up, not knowing what I was, I kind of thought, well, if I can put myself in that box, at least I'm grounded. I know
Yes.
where I
You're
stand.
part of a group of
Yeah.
people
Yeah.
then.
Exactly.
Not
But now
anymore.
I'm comfortable with who I am. I can take myself out of that
You still
box.
have put yourself in the box because you labelled yourself pansexual.
Well,
So
for
it's
me,
it's
I mean,
another-
yes.
Yeah.
So
I think we need
too many boxes, guys.
Yeah, I think the
Yeah.
thing,
I think of these like boxes and labels as more of they're just quick and concise words to tell you a series of facts about that
Yeah,
person.
exactly.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be
definitely.
limiting. It doesn't need to be limiting.
Well, it's a spectrum at the end of the day,
Yeah.
isn't
It
it?
is. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like colour your hair, right? For instance, you can have brown hair one day, but if you want to dye it the next day and do a different colour, it can be that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But at that moment when you meet that person, so they can understand you, who you are as an individual,
She
you say,
has brown
I am
hair.
this.
Yeah.
I am this. I
It
am
was
that.
like growing up, I called myself a pendulum bi.
Yeah.
So, 1 month I would
I've
be.
never heard that.
Yeah, that's good. I love
So it's kind of like, 1 month I may
Swing.
be, 30%
Swing.
attracted to
Yeah.
men, 70 to girls. And that in itself kind of
That sounds confusing.
exactly
Yeah.
it hinders a
Were you ever
relationship.
like in a relation? You were in a relationship with a woman and then you swung
Yeah.
the other way.
Well, no, I know I'd never cheat on anyone.
Oh no.
Do you know that I think this is a big problem? I think which puts a lot of fear, especially in the gay community. I think
Mhm.
because I think from a gay because the first time I was ever cheated on was actually with a lad cheated on me with a girl,
Right.
and that was the first thing. And as a gay, I think what it is because it's so hard. You come out,
Yeah.
whether you're gay, bi, trans, whatever. You come out and you go through that rigmarole of coming out, and then you come out, and then suddenly you're faced with people that are coming out, but then they're not. They identify as black in one gender, and then
Yeah.
another and things like that. And I think people associate promiscuity
Yeah.
Yeah.
with being pansexual or bisexual. And I think that's wrong.
It's
I think
so
that is
wrong.
wrong.
Yeah,
It's
there's a
something that's
stigma
wrong.
behind
But people
it.
think that because they think, oh well, they can't be satisfied by me.
Yeah.
They want
See-
something else. But this is what I think. That's what people have in their head. I'm not saying
See,
that's
for
right,
me,
it's
I've
not.
always said to anyone I was in a relationship that knew I was bisexual, it's like, say, for example, you're a gay man, there's 10 people in a room, 5 of them are men, 5 of them are women. You have access to 5
Five
people.
mate.
Yeah.
Exactly.
A girl, who's a lesbian, she has access to 5 women. Me as a bisexual man, I have 10 people I can choose from, but I pick that one person.
Yeah.
It makes it for me a bit more special because I have so much choice,
Exactly.
and I decide to choose that person.
I think it's
That's
nice.
sweet.
But I think that's what people need to hear. They
Yeah.
need to hear that because there's that mass. I know that's why I think there's a lot of prejudice in the gay community towards bisexuals. Because
Oh, certainly.
I've
found
Yeah.
I've been targeted more from gay people
Yeah.
than straight people.
No.
Yeah.
Oh,
Really?
Gay
I
people
found- I
always
found-
say,
I found-
pick
I
a
found-
side.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate
No,
that
don't
so
do
much.
that.
But again, it's understandable
Yeah.
because we desperately need security.
Mhm.
And then when you've
That's
got
not
people,
secure.
yeah, that
No.
when you've got someone who you thought was a part of your team,
Mhm.
And they can play both sides.
yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
So you feel I'm not supported, or my little group is a bit more shaken than I thought it was. Because I've often had an argument with people, especially about prejudice, and they hate me saying this, so people are probably going to hate me saying this.
Oh, God.
Being prejudiced is natural. It is natural to be prejudiced
Yeah.
because it's the animal herd instinct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I
It's
think if we
survival.
actually understand what it is,
Mm.
That is right.
it doesn't mean say, if we understand what it is, then we can address it. It doesn't mean
Yeah.
say it's right, but for instance, if you're any animal, if you're outside the animal's herd, you're seen as a threat.
Sure.
Mm.
So we all have our herds, we all have our identities.
tribes.
Yeah, tribes. And anything outside of it, naturally, based upon, we're animals. We like to say we're human and all that, but we're animals deep down. It will hit at us at a very, very deep level.
Mhm.
So I think if we understand why people are prejudiced,
Yeah.
and then dealing with it from that way, instead of seeing it as a big demon and think, oh my God, it's bad. No, it's not. It's natural.
People are just
but it's
looking after
not helpful.
themselves.
Yeah.
But
You
as
can-
humans, we have the ability to stand back and
We're trying to
control that
protect
instinct.
ourselves and people
Yeah,
that are in
it's
our
natural.
little group, and then we just
Exactly.
And you can have those initial thoughts come to you, as long as you take the time to examine it.
Exactly.
You don't want to know what I thought about you guys first time I met you all.
Oh my god.
That's for a different
Well,
time.
yeah, there you go.
go.
But I think that's what needs to be understood because instead of where something could be seen as something that you would fight against, if you can try to understand it, then you can find the common ground again. So
Yeah,
it works that way. But anyway,
Yeah, definitely. Wow. That was deep for episode 1. Well, I would like to just go through to the next segment of the show.
Pesky monkeys.
Gay news. Or LGBT news.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like you said, those pesky monkeys, the UK looks to be the winning fight against monkeypox.
Fabulous.
The UK's recorded more than 3,500 cases, but in the recent weeks, there's been fewer than 100 new cases.
Wow. Fewer than 100.
Fewer than 100.
That's amazing.
Wow.
Right.
But it's interesting because we mentioned earlier, didn't we, how, as soon as people have found out, well, the media have, clocked on that it's the LGBT community that are more affected, it's very suddenly gone quiet.
I've never heard about it I've only heard about it off other people talking about it on the internet and stuff.
Yeah.
I've not heard a whisper of it on
I was
news.
I don't know anyone
say,
that's had it.
What
No.
is monkeypox? I've
Yeah,
heard
what
about
is
it, but what is it?
Don't know
I have no idea what
Well,
it is.
it's very similar to chickenpox, isn't it,
Yeah.
really? So you get lesions on your skin.
Scars.
Right.
Yeah, so,
So
and it...
like spots.
Is it more lethal though?
Right.
I wouldn't
Is it
say...
lethal or is
You
it?
can't die of it, can you? Can you?
Well, this is it.
We're so informed.
Why are we talking about this?
Yeah, I know.
But this is the
Fact
issue.
check
This is the
this.
issue. So
Yeah.
obviously, once it came out, everyone was talking about it, but it's
Yeah.
suddenly just gone.
Yeah.
And that's
Silence.
because it's
But it's
the
also gone-
LGBT.
Yeah, exactly.
Why?
It
But
has
also,
gone.
but also what I think is I don't know, maybe you might disagree with me, but do you not think that because it was suddenly labelled as
an
part of the LGBT,
LGBT,
Yeah.
that actually, because we've gone through AIDS,
Well,
we took more action,
Yeah.
and we're used to dealing with something like that. So
Yeah.
that could have been a very, very strong factor to
It was a pretty
controlling it.
quick response
Yeah.
to it.
But this is the thing. I think this time round, I'm not obviously comparing it to the AIDS crisis, but this time round, just looking on dating apps like Grindr and stuff like that,
already you've
people
got,
are ticked, vaccinated straight away, on PrEP, which is fantastic.
Different world, isn't it?
Exactly. You've got these kind of things that the stigmas go in.
Well, I remember, obviously, I was a teenager in the 1980s, so...
Oh, man.
and
They didn't have Grindr, they had smoke signals.
It was
They had cruising, Dad.
yeah, so it was a death sentence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a death sentence, and it's remarkable. I remember because as soon as I turned 17, so that's 1987. As soon as I turned 17, I passed the test straight away on the very day. I jumped in the car.
Driving, yeah.
Yeah, driving. Yeah.
It's like, what can I test? As soon as I was 17, I got a positive test.
Yes, and I jumped in the car, and drove from Manchester.
Oh no!
Yeah.
See where this is going.
And so basically, it was like, from
Surprised it
17
was
years
there.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah. And obviously I was in clubs and it was illegal. I mean, this is a weird
You heard it here first.
but this is a weird thing. Obviously I own pubs and things like that, and the Vic and all that and all that stuff. So I own pubs and all that. But I've never touched a drop of alcohol in my life. Don't even know what it tastes like.
What?
I've never touched alcohol. Never
Wow.
never smoked, never touched
God.
drugs,
Wow.
never touched a drop of alcohol in my entire life.
That is so rare.
And I mean, actually never touched even a drop, not even had a sip, right,
Wow.
in my time. So the good thing is that's always meant that I was always in control of myself.
Mhm.
And so I was never in a situation that I wasn't, under the influence and things like that. So, but I remember going through it, and it was the AIDS crisis, and
It was so
you see,
scary.
everyone did disappear. They'd always disappear in the winter months.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You'd go on the scene, and I remember this was in Queer as Folk. It actually was. I thought
A historical gay documentary.
Yeah,
Where it's-
amazing. Because what you used to go out, and it's like, oh, you didn't see people that you knew.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Where's
no, they're dead.
Carlos? Oh,
Yeah,
he's gone
dead.
home to
Or
his
he's
parents
dead.
for a few months.
Yeah.
He's
Well, it's
done.
like
You never saw
Pose,
again.
isn't it?
And
Wow.
people don't realise what it was like. It was like
Yeah.
it was odd, but it was weird because also it pulled the community together.
Yeah.
But this
And
is
there was
what
a massive support element.
Yeah.
Mm.
So
Oh, it makes me cry.
because I've had a lot of
like
conversations
that,
with people about this kind of topic, you know, I think one aspect of us being able to be so open now is because there is so many of us now. If you think back, obviously back in the 90s, people were dying left, right, and centre. Late 80s, early 90s, people were dying left, right, and centre. So a lot of our community was wiped out. And now it's getting to the point where the children of the 90s are growing up and expressing themselves. It's almost like people, because I've heard it from people saying, oh my God, everyone's gay these days. I think, well, no, it's actually the community's back to where it was where it should have been. I
mean, Section 28 now.
Well, obviously. But that's for another topic.
That's very political now, isn't it? Maybe not that.
That's for another episode.
So get back to monkeypox.
So, well, the other section of news, a little bit of good news. In the new Scooby-Doo movie, finally depicts Velma as a lesbian. Yay!
But we knew. We knew.
In the movie, she develops a crush on another female character, and fans have taken notice.
So is this animated?
This is the animated movie,
not the live action one.
Not the live action. But I think it's good that a lot of, especially the older kind of, you know,
programming.
Yeah, exactly. Is you know, showing the inclusivity. Sorry, but it's like Marvel. They're such advocates for it. You've got a lot of LGBT characters, especially now coming out.
Do you think it's weird that since Disney's took over,
wow,
it's gone really LGBT?
Which is weird because Disney is so anti-gay.
Or allegedly, although there's that many gays in
quote unquote.
Yeah, well, I mean,
there's
that many Disney gays out there.
Yeah, exactly.
But they've never had. I mean, they've had like maybe two in actual baseline, like not other property, like baseline Disney content.
You know, it may have always been implied, but it's never been
like. Yeah, they were very clever with implying things, and they never actually came out to say.
Because I don't ever remember any TV program when I was a kid which showed a gay relationship. I mean, I don't know what Bill and Ben were getting up to behind the patio. I never saw anything that was
or Ernie and Bert in Sesame Street.
Yeah,
but no, they were so couple.
They were sleeping together, weren't they?
Yeah, they so were. Well, I will say that the original writer and creator of Scooby-Doo has said on record, and this was a few years ago, that Velma was always supposed to be a lesbian.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And it was just, you know, like, at the times they weren't allowed to have that on TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's like in I dare say, Harry Potter, Dumbledore's always been implied to be gay, but it's never been, you know, mentioned, expressed, or anything like that.
It's a bit of a retcon.
Well, yeah.
But, I mean, did you ever find Velma attractive? Did you think she was a Scooby?
What? Not even in the live action movies.
So here's a good topic then. We've all had, and I will admit it, an animated crush.
Character crush!
Yes. So I'm going to go around the room, and you are going to confess to me your animated crushes. I'm going to say mine was Belle and Aladdin. Straight from the off.
Okay.
Go on.
Okay. Oh God, I'm gonna.
There's so many to choose from now.
I'm gonna throw some curveballs. Google the horse from Spirit. Right?
I have no idea.
There are so many thirst trap boys on TikTok that look exactly like the horse from Spirit. With the curly hair. That is a good looking horse.
I do not know who that character is, but I'm going to take a word for it.
I'm going to Google it.
You should. Give it a Google. Who else is there?
And this is animated. It has to be animated.
Oh, by the way, if anyone has their animated crush, please tweet it to us.
Tell us.
Or with a picture, because we get to be able to see it.
Yeah.
Of course.
We can rate them out of 10.
Oh, go on. What's yours then?
I mean, the only one that I know, no one's going to know, it was a character in Fortnite. It's a Fortnite skin, so we're not going to go into that.
What? Tell me. Who was
my husband was a game streamer.
It's the one with a wolf. It was like a wolf.
A wolf.
That's one of my fantasies, not actually to have sex with a werewolf.
We're getting a bit furry.
Also, we are actually.
It's Halloween.
I mean,
I did that one out.
We don't judge here, but go on.
Yeah, that's the only one I can think of. I can't think of any others.
Oh my God, that's so boring.
It is really. I never really watched animated films. I only saw my first Disney film like when I first moved to uni.
Wow.
That was only a couple of years ago.
What did you watch?
Strip him of his gayness. Take that card off him.
I used to go outside, you know, see fresh
Go and
air.
play.
Go and play in the mud. That's why I used to
Go and play in the mud.
In the park.
Yeah.
Go on, Carla. What's
I'm the
yours?
same. I didn't really have one, I don't think.
I feel weird now.
We the odd ones.
You were shagging a horse. Have you done that?
Mine was Tigra from Thundercats.
Oh, yeah.
Of course. I'm sure
I like the skull guy off that.
Skeletor.
Yeah, Skeletor. He was sexy.
Yeah.
He was like a big, like, you know.
What was it with the cartoons? But like Biker Mice from Mars, they were all hulky rats.
Oh, it was like
because it was gay men that drew this.
Yeah.
That's the same with the superhero comics, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Gay men that drew
Well, I mean, Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
The guy was like really into S&M stuff,
Wow.
so she was always like, she'd be
why
like,
she had a whip.
yeah, she had a, well, literally, she would.
Carries them both around everywhere.
Yeah, she was always like handcuffed and like she'd be like tied to things and locked in a closet and all
Oh my
that.
God,
Always put in
thank you.
these like really
true.
subby scenarios because the artist, that's what he was into.
I've missed out massively on this animated game. What the hell's
you
going
have,
on? Wow. Okay.
I mean, aside from sending us like animated porn,
Yeah,
Which
we would.
you can send me on it.
I mean, yeah, the DMs are open, but feel free. Like I said, yeah, send us your childhood animated crush. Yeah.
Actually, I still fancy
I
Tigra
reckon there's so many dirty
Yeah.
bastards out there that have got some weird ones.
They
and I
better be
can't
live
wait to
action
see
as well,
it.
I will say, I think that the Buzz Lightyear from the new anime, I think he's fucking hot.
Yeah, it's not.
And it's Chris Evans, isn't it?
Yes, yeah.
Is that's what it is, really?
No. I did. Silent.
Silent.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm afraid we're gonna have to look to wrap it up, guys.
Oh my God.
I mean, I will go through a few little pointers for our listeners. So we've got our topics of conversation coming up. So we're going to cover so many topics. First of all, we'd like to cover mental health amongst LGBT people.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, I think that's a very prominent topic to talk about, certainly. Dating and dating apps. I mean, I know we've mentioned a lot today about dating, but I think that's such a topic to cover.
That's what I meant by
Huge.
husband.
Exactly.
Dating and dating apps, two very
Dating,
different things.
well,
aren't
exactly.
they? Yeah.
Compare and contrast. Going out and coming out. I mean, we've came out today, but we'd love to hear your stories
Oh,
on your
absolutely.
coming out. So feel free to message us. You can email us if you'd like to leave any names out. We can
Anonymous.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. Anonymous. We can change names. So feel free to message us as much as you want. We'll get back to everyone, and we'll pick our favourites for the show. So we'll add this as a
Yeah,
as a
read them out.
permanent segment.
Obviously, anonymously read it out.
Of
Yeah.
course, yeah. So we'll add this as a permanent segment to offer advice, to listen to stories.
Because we want to be your queer friends to talk
Exactly,
to.
exactly.
We're nice people.
Well,
Are we?
I don't know about
Some of
that.
us.
Some of us.
Some of us are rotten.
Well, yeah, thank you guys, and hope to see you soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
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 Don't forget, you can reach out to us or email in your dilemmas via email, pridecast@chesterpride.co.uk, drop us a DM on Twitter @ch1pride, or send in your message anonymously via our Curious Cat found on our Twitter. Chester Pridecast is produced by Studio 30,000.